Definitely a PG-13 episode.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, ooh, the Cabana Club?
The Cabana Club.
It's like, I heard some stories about that place. Sure.
This is me just like, I'm going to edit this out.
I think you should definitely keep that in.
Yeah.
Totally. Try and do different things with the camera.
Yeah,
there we go.
When you're bored and feeling blue, when you don't know what to do, just turn on your screen and keep watching me. It's Mandy and Friends, where the fun never ends. Mandy and Friends, where the fun never ends.
Oh my gosh. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Mandy and Friends. I'm so excited to be here as usual. But you guys, today is very special because I have this man sitting right next to me. His name is Sean. And we met approximately 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah. So I'm actually really excited. We literally no lead in, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know why you're here, and we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
But
am I in trouble?
I'm also really yes. Yes, you are. No, I'm really excited to get to know you and what you're doing in the comedy scene.
Yeah.
Here in McMinnville. Mm-hmm. And elsewhere.
Yeah.
So the main reason why I reached out to you is because, first of all, can we just pay homage to how amazing the McMinnville Community Discussion Board on Facebook is?
Amazing isn't the word I would probably use for it, but yeah.
Amazing.
Funny.
Yes. For me, I just like going on there. And the Yamhill County one needs some work. Are you on the Yamhill County?
I probably am. I don't know. I have like 3 profiles now on Facebook and Instagram, okay. So it's hard for me to keep up with everything. But yeah, I think I'm on some sort of Yamhill board. Yeah.
No, there's the Yamhill County one, which is definitely not as active with Burger King as McMinnville is. The running joke of Burger King that cracks me up every time. Love? Yeah, that
was just the talk of the town for like a year.
Oh my gosh!
Or at least that I posted something about the air show, and that's the only viral post I've ever had.
Okay.
Like I had 300 comments by the end of the day on my little post on that, and halfway through I just mentioned anybody know what's going by by the Burger King, just to try and throw people off of my other post.
Yes.
But yeah,
that's awesome. Fun. But anyway, that's where I saw your post about what you're doing with comedy.
Yep.
And so I reached out to you. I was like, "This sounds interesting. Let's talk about it."
Yep.
So can you just explain what's going on?
Absolutely. So I work from home, and I was on a client through kind of middle of last year, and then knew I was taking some time off. So I took some time off, and my wife and a lot of my friends do karaoke.
What?
Yeah, not here. They haven't done it here, but I've seen my wife do.
I am the karaoke queen.
Well, so my wife has done karaoke live with a band in Chicago,
what?
And wherever.
That sounds amazing.
Whenever there's karaoke, she will go, and I have other friends that are really good at karaoke. I can't sing.
Okay.
So I've always had an issue with that, but I've always wanted to try stand-up comedy.
Okay.
And I lived in Charlotte and never really pursued it. I had a couple friends that did, but then we moved out here anyway. Long story short, I decided to one day, I was like, you know what, I've been talking about it for a year. I'm going to go and do a stand-up show.
Nice.
And do a stand-up open mic. And so I found one in Gladstone, went, and it was terrible. There were 2 comics plus me, so 3. Okay. I did not plan on going up, but the comic who ran the mic was like, if I don't have 3, I don't open it. So he convinced me to go up, and that's how that path started. And then I don't know if you want to.
Did you bomb or did you do okay? Were it little chuckles or?
For about silent? 4 minutes, I had this kind of expression from most people,
like they're waiting.
No laughs.
They're ready.
Yeah, no laughs, but smiling and that. And now, once you're deep enough into it, you're like, oh, they're waiting for me to get to a punchline, because I was 4 minutes into a set and had no punchlines.
Oh,
really.
shoot.
I thought there were some funny bits, but
yeah,
there was one guy with a dog. He left before I went up, so he was the only person in the crowd other than comedians. And then there was one old guy at the bar, and the old guy at the bar didn't laugh at anyone. All 3 of us. And afterwards, I said to him, I was like, "Oh, you not a fan of comedy, honey?" He goes, "Oh, I don't have my hearing aid in. I couldn't hear you."
Oh no!
And we're like, "Oh, great, cool."
Well, that's too bad.
But I was hooked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought I went home like thinking like, oh, I'm the greatest comedian that's ever been. And I went and found the other mics. You know, there's a page called laughspdx.com or a website called laughspdx.com.
Okay.
And they have all the mics in Portland. They keep a running
nice.
mic list. It was started in 2020 by a comic who's been out here to my show, Brent Lowry, because during the pandemic, you know, all the places that do comedy were shut down. So he started it so they could start doing it in like parking lots and outdoor venues.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you moved to McMinnville.
Mm-hmm.
You are an accountant.
Yes.
And now you're filming something.
Yes.
What's the filming aspect?
So I was as I started doing these open mics and getting into that scene, I was just kind of sitting there one night and I was like, man, like this is like a great story. Like just seeing, I'd done like stand-up comedy. And so when you go to an open mic, the mic that I went to after that terrible mic was a mic at McMinnville Station, hosted by a comic he had about 4 years experience at the time. I think he's going on his 5th year now, named Lucas Kopp. And Lucas runs a tight mic and it's 3 minutes a set and he gets 40 to 50 comics a week that show up at between 7 and 10 p.m. to just do 3 minutes of work on stage. And I was like, and then so that you see the comics that are coming in, they're rolling in every week. They know, a lot of them know each other and say hey, and there's a lot of love in the community. And then you see a roast when somebody's like leaving town and you see the people come out and kind of roast them in that, you know, traditional roast style.
Yeah.
But then afterwards they're giving each other big hugs and, you know, there's just a lot of love. And I was like, there's a great story of the scene here that I don't think has ever been told. You always see like a famous comedian and you see a documentary of their life and it rolls back to footage or to you know, stuff that you see of their past. But I was like, what about just seeing like this from this viewpoint of a person trying to become a comic?
Yeah.
And seeing all the diversity that's here and the types of jokes that are being told and just the story. So that's how I thought about it. And then I knew a documentary filmmaker or not a documentary filmmaker, but a producer in public television that I did a program with my brother with like 20 some years ago. And I reached out to her and said, hey, do you know anybody that might be interested in shooting a documentary? I think there's this cool thing in the scene, in the comedy scene that needs to be told. And she said, I don't. She got back to me a few days later and was like, I don't. But she's like, if you see it, get a camera and start filming. So I did. Nice.
So how long have you been filming for now?
I've been filming since October 10th of 2023. So I'm 6-7 months in now. And I've been recording pretty regularly weekly at a place called McMinnville Station that I mentioned before. And my mic here in McMinnville at the Cabana Club. Nice. And then I also I've done interviews and I've done mic follows. So I did an interview with Lucas who runs that mic and a kid named Milo Loza and followed them to 5 mics just so you can kind of see what the grit and the drive that it takes to be a comedian because it's like a Monday night and they're just going from club to club and sometimes you try the same set at each club because you know, you're just trying to work it out.
Yeah, sometimes working with different people.
Yeah, sometimes you're trying to just find out if like this thought that you had in between the 2 places that you were before. Yeah. If it'll work and you try that on stage and so it's just fun. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. So what you're filming then is a feature-length documentary?
I mean, yeah, like I'm filming for a year. So I'm capturing a year of footage. I've got lots of mic footage now. And I guarantee you that I have at least a handful of people that will be household names on video, which I think is just cool to be a part of. Right. And then I've started doing interviews with, you know, people as I get time because I do work full time. So as I get time, I'll do interviews, I'll do mic follows, and then I'm trying to get to the other mics in Portland because I've kind of had a really, I don't want to say a narrow focus. I always knew that I would go and do other mics, but the Montevilla mic is so nice because it gets so many different comedians week over week. Okay. You might get the same ones.
Where is that?
It's in the Montevilla neighborhood in Portland, so it's off of Stark Street.
Stark. So northeast, northwest?
Yeah, northeast.
Okay. Killer mug, bro. That's what it's for. killer.
Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
I'm a killer.
And I'm always Mrs. Right.
Cheers.
That was the weirdest. Here, let's clink in the
Are we doing
with the handles.
There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Let's be different.
Let's do it. So
you are
the
like,
mic in McMinnville.
there is no open mic in McMinnville. Let's make this happen.
Several comedians like, how do I get better? How do I become better? Because
Yeah.
I don't like being bad at things.
Sure.
And so
Who does?
Yeah, and somebody goes, do as many mics as you can. And I was like, well, it's going to be a problem because I live in McMinnville.
Yeah.
And they were like, we'll start a mic in McMinnville. And I was like, that's a great idea. And so I reached
Yeah,
out
it is.
to, I went to the Oak and met Junior and asked him if he would be interested. And he's like, yeah. They only had Tuesday, I think, available. And I filmed today. It's like today's a Tuesday, so I film on Tuesdays at McMinnville. And I was like, well, I can't do Tuesdays. And he's like, well, let's go talk to Shane at the Cabana. And I was like, ooh, the Cabana Club?
The Cabana Club.
I was like, I heard some stories about that place. and then we went in, and Shane had built a stage, I guess, just before the pandemic or during the pandemic to for comedy.
Oh,
And
wow.
it never got used. And so they had this kind of stage.
Oh, my gosh.
And they were set up for it. And we got it started in, I think, November, first week of November, sometime around there. It was me and one other comic showed up from Portland, Jeff Epstein, which is a great comedy name, by the way.
Seriously?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I do comedy, because you have
Oh
friends
my
like Jeff
gosh.
Epstein, and you don't get arrested for it.
Wow.
Yeah. And so he came out, and I think I did 45 minutes of material that night, and he did about 20.
And how many people were in the crowd? 2? No.
6.
Oh,
We
hey.
had 6, yeah. So it was a good night. It was a good night, and I mean,
Oh, good.
but 45 minutes from a comedian who's got 3 or 4 months in the biz at
That's
that
a
point.
lot.
Yeah, but fortunately, I wasn't working a lot during that time, so like I was just writing material.
Okay.
So I had a lot of stuff that I burned through in my first week. But then I got more comics out the next week, and I was like, okay, if I can just double, right? So that's 2 comics and then 8 audience members. And I think the next week I had 6 or 7 comics and about 8 audience members. And that fluctuates; it goes up and
Yeah.
down. It's harder right now, actually, in the summertime because the weather gets nice and people don't. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not going out to the club.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have to ask, what do you talk about in your sets? What's like your go-to?
Well, I mean, the first rule or the first thing that many places teach you if you do like a stand-up class is talk about yourself.
Okay.
So I talk about myself, talk about like where I'm from. A lot of times I'm trying, like sometimes I'm just trying to be funny, but other times I'm trying to like use something that is just popular culture or something about the South because I grew up in the South.
Yes.
And it's fun here.
It's easy to rag on the South.
It's easy. It's easy to rag on the Pacific Northwest when you're from the South because as soon as like in a club, as soon as you mention black people or black folks, everybody gets quiet.
Yes.
Yeah, and when you look and sound like me, people get quiet and they're like,
Yes.
"Oh, dude, this is about to go off the rails."
Which is hilarious because I know exactly what you're talking about because I lived there and now I know the culture and
Yeah.
it's like okay
And
to
so
talk about black people.
Yeah, you got to do it right,
Well, of
right? You got to
course,
do it right.
of course.
But yeah, and so like, but it's just funny to watch. To like, I learn. This is what you learn on stage. Like I told a joke about. One of my first sets, I was trying to tell a joke about going to this barbershop that I grew up near and that I got my hair cut at. It was a black-owned barbershop. And there was a character, I mean, it could be out of like the barbershop movie. And his name was, I think it was Charles Rayford, and we all called him Rayford. And he sat closest to the window. And I never got my hair cut by him because I would watch him cut other people's hair. And he was the guy by the window. So he'd be like cutting and see somebody he knew walk by and like make eye contact and wave and continue cutting.
Oh no.
And I told this joke in Portland and everyone was like, where are you? Like, first it was like I mentioned going into a black barbershop. And so everybody just got quiet.
Oh jeez.
And then I'm trying to tell this, anecdote about and no one had that experience. So it was just lost. So I'm like, all right, I got to figure out a way to set people up.
Yeah.
And that's learning to be a comedian. Like you have to, you can't just. And I've dived into jokes that needed time to like get everybody on my
Percolate.
side and get some rapport
Yeah.
before I go there. But you only have 3 minutes, and so you got this
Yeah.
set in your head, and you're just like running through it real quick, and then you look up and you're like, oh shit, lost the room.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's, I mean, I go for everything, but I leave. When I talk about my mic and being a host, I do not gatekeep because I believe any premise is on limits. Now I will. Have we been talking for 98 minutes?
We have been talking for 2 days.
Wow,
Yeah.
time flies.
That's why you have a beard.
This is Special K. I see.
Hey, yeah. No, I've always wanted to try my hand at stand-up, but
Oh, you should definitely come
when
out.
it comes to telling a story, I get all weird. I'm good at improv. I love improv. No, but
try.
there's this one joke that I've been working on. Here, I'll say it to you.
No. This is the thing. Don't use it on me. Bring it to the stage. Bring it to the stage.
No, I have to tell you this.
Because it's not going to be the same. You can't. This is the beauty of an open mic.
No, but I promise you. Listen.
Is
This
it cheesy?
joke is that I don't know how to set it up. I only know like I have this idea in my head and I don't know how to articulate it. So
Okay.
Here's the thought process is I go to the mountain a lot.
Mountain?
The mountain, Mount Hood.
Okay.
When you are driving down the mountain, said mountain, you see these the runaway
Oh, the runaway
ramps.
Yeah, runaway
the
truck ramps.
Semi runaway truck ramps. And in my head, I'm thinking, how many trucks have run away for them to put a runaway ramp to
lot.
save lives? And how terrifying is that to think about?
I've seen one hit. It's kind of crazy.
You've seen one hit a ramp?
Yes.
Okay.
Not at Hood, but this is back in North Carolina because we have there, and the I will say that the ramps like out west are typically longer.
Okay.
And yeah, because you build up more speed. But yeah, I've seen.
Yeah.
It was back in North Carolina. I saw a truck that lost braking and had to hit a ramp.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to watch. Like you're like, wow, that's cool. And then I was like, I guess they're okay, and I just kept driving.
Yeah, you're like, oh, thank God for the ramp.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot.
So that's not really a joke.
You just had to figure out. So that's the premise. So the premise is the truck ramp.
There's a
Now you have to
truck
figure
ramps.
out how. You have to do a few things. One, you got to set it up where you're like, oh, I love going to the mountains. Well, you did that pretty well, right?
Kinda,
I love
yeah.
doing that. And I love, when you're going down and you see that thing on the side.
Yeah.
Then you have to figure out, like, what's the punchline in there?
Right.
And then from the punchline, you go tag, right? So you're just trying to, like, hit that punchline. You get laughs. You get everybody, like, thinking that's a crazy thing. And then you start tagging it with, like, the other funny stuff that you figure out around it. And sometimes that's easier said than done. And many comics, I think that's where more experienced comics get really good because I'm good at like writing a premise and writing a punchline, but I'm not good at tag. They're good at like writing premise, punchline, and then tag. But an open mic, what'll help you do is what I'm learning myself is like I will go and I will have ideas for like this is funny, and I might not have that whole setup and that whole bit that I'm going to do yet. I've just got like an idea or a funny thing. And then you're working out another idea and another premise. And then in the moment, it's come to me where I'm like, oh, I should hit this tag, this other thing that I know gets a laugh. And then you hit that and then you get a big laugh and then you're off to the races.
Because I feel like if I were to ever do comedy like that, I would just say random facts. Like, isn't that crazy, guys? There's runaway ramps.
Yeah.
Wow. It's
And then you have to figure out,
weird.
like, why, what else would a runaway ramp be good for?
Yeah.
It'd be good at an open mic to have a runaway ramp.
I want to
where I
run
can
away
just-
to Narnia. There you go.
There you go.
That would be my.
And then you see how, and so the thing is, like, that's great, like, because you can then get on stage, and you'll have this like I've had ideas where I'm like, nobody's gonna laugh at this, and then that will get a laugh, and you're like, that's when you realize how terrible you are. You're like,
Okay.
I don't even know where the laughs are.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
bring it to the stage.
Okay.
Check it out one time.
Well, what's the? I heard that it costs money though. It's not a free.
It cost me money.
Well,
It cost anybody else money.
I
so
thought
far.
it was like $5 to perform. Or was that one night?
No.
Oh, it's free.
Okay. I'm just going to clear up the...
Yeah, let's do this.
Let's clear this up. So, to perform is $0. You do have to get to the mic, so that'll cost you something. But
Yeah.
I give away $110 every week
Oh, what?
at the open mic. So there are 3 prizes, first, second, and third.
Oh, wow.
First place gets, and this is all voted on by the audience. First place gets $50, second place gets $25, and third place gets $25. And that's just to, like, it makes it easier on my life if I just make those 2 the same, because we have a lot of ties too at times. But and then the $10 is whoever goes first.
Oh, nice.
And I just started that about 6 weeks ago because
Warming up. You got to warm up
it's
the
tough.
crowd.
It's a tough job to come in and go bullet, is what we call it
Okay.
in the open mic scene. It's whoever goes bullet. You got to get the room started. You're trying to warm it up. The host is trying to warm it up, but then they're going to turn it over. So I give them $10 and then 5 points. Points are something that I also started. I rolled back and calculated all the points from the beginning of this year. And the goal is at the end of the year, whoever the top 5 points leaders are. Right now, it's Jared Richard from Gallery Theater.
Okay.
Who's our points leader, with Andrew Brunello, I think, in 3rd place, and a guy named Dennis Cruz in 2nd, and 4th is Sam Bass, and 5th is still Felix T. from who's junior from the Oak. He was doing comedy for a while. He's retired.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so those 5, I'm going to do a show, and I'm going to try and do it at either the gallery, which I haven't talked to them about. So this is just talking. I'm just talking to the air right now, gallery or maybe the ballroom.
Nice.
And because I have 2 nice cameras, and then here at MCM, I'm probably going to be taking over their accounting duties as well. And so
know.
part of the part of the deal that we're working on, or that we're just talking about. I don't know if I should say all that, but like
I'll cut it out.
Yeah. So but here at MCM, they're going to help me get the production right.
Cool.
So I want to have a multi-camera view, and I want to have one dynamic camera, and do a filmed show, because as a comic, my goal in comedy is both to become a good comic, and if I ever like hit the stage or hit it big and like become the Nate Bargatze of the Pacific Northwest, great. But if I don't,
You do remind me of him.
I have a comic who called me the poor man's Nate Bargatze, or the Pacific Northwest Nate Bargatze. I'll take it.
I mean, we each have to have our thing, right?
I'll take it. He's from my neck of the woods. We have a lot of the same delivery and I think the same sound, but yeah, I want to produce the show. So my goal in all of this, when I started doing the documentary and the open mic and it's the Oregonian Open Mic and Showcase Showdown, is to just lift up the community and show off what I think is an outstanding comedy scene here in the Pacific Northwest.
That's
So
really awesome.
Yeah.
And I love that. And thank you for doing that.
Cheers.
Because it always takes someone.
Yeah.
I feel like that's how I felt like when I started my business. I feel like we're in the Wild West out here.
Yeah.
To a certain degree.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to do something, just do it.
Yeah,
And
all it takes is hard work.
Thankfully, there are people, especially in McMinnville and Yamhill County in general, who love to support mom, pa, startups, just any little grassroots thing.
Yeah,
Like,
so I
that's
am
our MO.
Misfit PDX. This is kind of like my brand. And then Be a Misfit is what I always say, because I started a food truck back in North Carolina that failed.
Oh.
But it was Misfit Beer and Food Company. I was trying to open a brew pub eventually, and so I started a slogan that was "Be yourself, be a misfit," and I just ported that brand over to PDX, and I call it PDX because I do a lot. I look at this as like McMinnville is awesome and it's great, and we have a community, we have a comedy scene here, but it's part of this universe of the Portland comedy scene, which I think includes Salem.
I beg to differ, sir. I think that there is a bubble with lasers that if anyone comes here from Portland, like thinking about moving or anything, they get shot with
lasers.
Bullets. There, made him laugh.
I hope that's
that was my goal.
I hope that's
that's
cool.
So awesome.
We're doing the Irish thing, or the European thing, where it's like we're like, all right, bye, and then we keep talking.
Yeah. Well, I'm really tired, and I don't want to leave.
I've got to go into Portland
You
tonight,
do. You need to leave.
set up a camera, and then go over to Helium because I have 2 friends that
Oh,
are
fun.
competing tonight in Portland's Funniest. So I want to go support
I've
them
been there.
because
That
they
is-
don't have any friends.
that is funny.
Dennis Cruz, I'm looking at you.
So I went to one of those evenings.
Yeah.
And it was great, except there was this one. So when I get nervous, I laugh, which is why a lot of times, and when I don't know what I'm saying, I just start laughing here on the show. And I was actually critiqued.
It's like when I mentioned black people. She was
When
like,
I was like, oh, black people.
oh, here we go, off the rails. Yeah.
So yeah, there was this comic, and the poor guy. I think each person was given 5 minutes. I think the entire time, his whole set, start to finish, was about masturbation, and him masturbating. And let
What's
me
his
tell
name?
you,
Brian Bixby.
I don't know.
No.
The whole thing was masturbation, and no one was laughing except me because it was so awkward. There, you could hear a pin drop. No one thought it was.
It wasn't
funny,
Bixby then. It
which
wasn't
it was
Bixby.
so sad because he was just up there just.
Asking
That was the
around.
hardest bomb I've seen, but at the same time, I gave him the courage he needed. I feel in my heart I gave him the courage he needed to.
I'm guessing
continue
that they didn't move forward.
because I was laughing so hard. I was the only one laughing in a room full of non-laughers, which made me feel
Again,
weird.
you have to set those
Because
up.
I was like, why am I the only one laughing, you guys? No. Okay, so let's wrap it up
Yep.
and tell the good people in camera 2 about the.
Is this
open
camera
mic
2?
night. Yeah.
This is camera. Hello, camera 2. My name is Sean Murphy, and I would like to tell you about my mic that happens on Thursdays at the Cabana Club from 7 to 9 p.m.
7 to 9 p.m.
So come out and see us
every Thursday.
every Thursday.
Wow.
The last Thursday of the month is our showcase showdown. So I do the open mic.
Fun.
The open mic is every Thursday, but then the last Thursday, all the winners from the prior month come back and compete against one another, and I invite other open micers out. And so, like last Thursday, we had 6 comics that came in, did 5-minute sets each. The first place winner wins $100, second place $50, third place is $25. So
Okay.
it doesn't cost you as a comic anything to go up on stage. It costs me as the showrunner a lot of money to fund this, but
You're
it's something
amazing.
that I'm loving doing right now, and I see there's a big picture.
Yeah,
to the
of
end-
course.
to it. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to MCM TV and St. Bezzy's Art Collab. That's me. Hi. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.